9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Tuesday. We are well into December. We got the gang back together. Very scruffy, very happy to have Scruffy with us here, co-hosting in hour one. And coming up in hour two, you see I got my Winnipeg Jets stuff going today. We're going to be joined by Winnipeg Jets TV's Jamie Thomas. And my screens are a little sync here, Mitch. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. My timing's off, Mitch. Hi, how are you, Scruffy? What's going on? Welcome to the show.
What's going on? Welcome back to the 306. Uh-oh.
There. Hey, Mitch, you got me now?
I've got you now.
We're good. We're good. It was lagging a little behind, but we're ready to go. We're ready to talk sports. Thank you. We've wasted enough time. Let's jump into the quick six. Let's get into the quick six show topics here, Mitch. We're going to start with the National Football League and Monday Night Football, okay? Drake May passed for 2 touchdowns as the Patriots beat the Giants 33-15 to become the first NFL team to reach 11 wins this season. Marcus Jones had a 94-yard punt return TD in New England's 10th straight victory. The Giants lost their 7th consecutive game. Did you watch it, Mitch?
I watched the first half and a bit. Man, the Giants are bad.
Yes.
They are so bad. And that field goal attempt, that might have been the worst field goal attempt I've ever seen. Like, that was like Charlie Brown and Lucy.
I know. Well, what do you think? It's funny that you would take that road, the off-ramp to that town. It was Jackson Dart, right, that they had the camera on the sidelines, and he was like, oh, my God. He just mouthed it when they whiffed on the field goal. Does that make Jackson Dart look bad, or does it make him human?
Makes him human, because I think he was saying everything that all of us that were watching were saying. Speaking of Jackson Dart, son, you got to learn to get out of bounds when somebody's coming after you. If that would have been Patrick Mahomes that got hit last night, that player for New England would have been charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have been hit like that. Patrick Mahomes would have got out of bounds ahead of time. Patrick Mahomes would have hook slid. Did you not think that was just a rookie? That was my thinking. He'll learn.
Oh, yeah, I thought that too. But like I said, with Patrick Mahomes, how many times do you see that he's going to go out of bounds and then he decides to tiptoe his way for about 3 or 4 extra yards? And somebody is going to catch him at some point. And that would have been last night. That would have been Mahomes. America would have been celebrating, and that player would have been like charged with second-degree murder.
Hey, I welcome all the viewers tuning in. Jeff in Toronto writes, he's a rookie. He'll learn. That was the first thing that I thought when he got belted out of bounds, which incidentally, as you saw, it was a clean hit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, you say if it was Mahomes, there would have been hell to pay. I don't know. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You don't hit a vet like that, but you hit a rookie like that. The rookie will learn. But ahead of all of that, Mitch, as I said, the Patriots are the first team to 11 wins. Denver has 10. Let me ask you this, and we'll save hockey for after the first break. What is a legit Super Bowl matchup right now? I had Lions-Bills going into the season. They may both end up missing the playoffs.
I had Ravens-Eagles. Eagles are going to get there. I don't know about Baltimore. Roddy, that's the great thing about this season is I don't know 13 weeks into the season if we have a clear-cut Super Bowl favorite. I'm not sold on New England yet. Denver didn't show me a lot the other night against Washington. In fact, if it wasn't for Nick Bonito, they get beat by Washington. What's separating the Rams, the Bears, and the Seahawks right now?
Nothing.
And are they,
Nothing.
is one of those three teams the best in the NFC? Because some people will tell you it's Green Bay. Others will tell you it's Philadelphia. Dallas isn't out of it yet. And Detroit's not out of it.
And it's, no. Just hang on. And it's changing. Did you mention your Seahawks? You're wearing their, I don't feel like you mentioned your Seahawks. Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
Did.
Okay. Okay, so let's open it up. 902-518-3033 is the text line. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge or the YouTube chat. Those that are watching streaming, we're live on Game Plus Television across Canada. In hour 2, we will go to Nevada as well. They join the party on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Tonight, by the way, the Chicago Blackhawks are in Vegas. That's coming up in the Quick Six show topics here about Carter Hart making his debut for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. And they're just not going away. And when I say they, you know what I mean. The people that don't want to see Carter Hart ever play hockey again. But we're not going to get into that here. We'll get into it coming up after the break. But what is it about this season in the National Football League that it's just been so wonky? Is it like here to stay, or is it just a fad for the year?
I think that we're seeing, Rod, is that the parity that the NFL wants, we're getting. And how many one-score games have we seen this year? And, you know, the old adage is when you take a look at a game, there are usually 5 plays that separate the winner from the loser. And we're seeing so many games be close this year. The parity is so good. You know, we went into the season in the AFC thinking it's Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. And all 4 of those teams may not make the playoffs. So I think that just sort of tells you that, you know, the NFL, the parity is there. And that's great for the NFL because it means it's must-watch TV every Sunday.
Right. Well, somewhere along the line, it's not yours and my job to examine how they did this, but you're right. It's exactly what it's a league record for one-score games being decided in the last minute, all of that. Apparently, Andy read his stack yesterday about the media. And don't get me going on the media, but you're going to. You didn't, but Brad Marchand did yesterday. The Leafs and the Panthers are meeting tonight in Sunrise. I don't know if you saw his comments, so we're going to dip into that.
Yes, I did.
So it's our first time out. We'll be right back. Yeah, we'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network across Canada and 32 U.S. states.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw. I'm here for business. Couple things outside the RP show, but very excited to be back here for my summer home. Scruffy is with me, and we're back in business. Brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Before we look to tonight's games in the National Hockey League, I want to go back to last night. Point 2 of the Quick Six show topics is the NHL. Another loss for the Winnipeg Jets. They fell 5-1 to the Buffalo Sabres for their 5th defeat in 6 games since MVP goalie Connor Hellebuyck went down with a knee injury. Josh Norris had 2 goals and a helper for Buffalo in his first game since opening night. Let's hear from the Jets fans. How are you feeling? Just like Monday Night Football, I'll say to you, Mitch, and all and sundry, did you watch it? I got to give a shout-out to Prime Video. I'm sitting there trying to find it on TSN3 going, well, how could I not get the Jets in Moose Jaw? Oh, wait, it's Monday. Googled Prime Video, and
Amazon,
my U.S.
Monday
subscription
Night
worked.
Only on Mondays.
Right, and I had it on my laptop, and Bob's your uncle. But you know what? I almost wish I didn't, because the Jets played terrible. I'm not going to put this on Comrie or Milic. It doesn't. I believe it was Milic who was in goal last night. It wouldn't have mattered because they played like crap, and the Jets are really in the tank right now. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it, and it was like, what, 2-0, 6 minutes in? Norris and Byram scored. I think they made it, 3-0 before the end of the first, and then Connor scored, and then maybe, because they've got guys like Connor, Scheifele, Velarde. It's Buffalo. You think, geez, maybe did the Jets have something there and they can come back? But no, they didn't. And you know what? Winnipeg had such a great start last year that I think you take a look at that team this year and you go, what's going on? Yeah, Connor Hellebuyck not being there hurts the Jets tremendously, but maybe that's the Winnipeg team that we just thought we were going to see take away the first 2 months of last year. Because there are issues there, and Connor Hellebuyck helps save the day, and I like the Jets. I think they're a good team. But there's something missing there. And it's more than the goaltending.
Well, I've been saying that for years, and they've made their changes. They got rid of Blake Wheeler. It's a coaching change, not that they necessarily wanted it, but Rick Bowness stepped down. It sure the hell wasn't Paul Maurice. They won the President's Trophy last year, for God's sake. So
I just know
go ahead.
Washington did.
No, they didn't.
Washington won the President's Trophy.
No, the Winnipeg Jets did.
I thought it was Washington.
No, it was the
Okay,
Jets.
whatever. But I just think when I look at the Jets, I go, okay, they've got a solid defenseman in Josh Morrissey, one of the top 5 defensemen in the NHL in my mind. But that gap from 1 to 2, that's a big gap. And there's a lot of no-names on that list. And I don't know if that's an insult to guys like Logan Stanley and Dylan Sandberg and Luke Shin, but you take a look at some other defense corps that are good teams, and you see that they've got 3 or 4 solid defensemen. Like, just take a look at what Colorado's got. Winnipeg needs to add to the blue line because they're fine up front. But I think they need to get a little bit more talent behind the blue line. That's just
they're going to have to do something, but that is the poll question today for EMJ Marketing is, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? Which, by the way, EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau, they rep me. They rep Corey Mace, Stu Grimson, Jim Barker. It's a Hall of Fame list. Check them out at emjmarketing.com. Will the Jets make the playoffs? 58% of respondents saying yes, they will. To me, Mitch, this is simply Connor Hellebuck's out. And it's not like anybody in Winnipeg didn't know what he's worth. They love Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg. Yep. Even when we were all scoffing, saying this guy can't get it done in the crunch, there are believers in Winnipeg. Jets fans know. And maybe it is just as deep as that. But we're really seeing how good this guy is. It's something everybody in Winnipeg knew, but now the rest of the NHL and the continent's finding out how good he really is. I think it's that simple. And I think when he comes back, they'll be back in the playoff chase.
I don't disagree with that, but I still think they need to shore up their defense a little bit and make life easier for Connor Hellebuck.
Well, it's interesting when you say there's no names on the team. I feel like in today's NHL, every team has no names. The Florida Panthers are icing a team tonight, I believe, that includes a guy named Dominic Sabrango and Jack Studnick and Jack. Who are these guys? That's sports now, right? Which, by the way, before we have a lot of time here with Scruffy, there's a lot of topics I want to get to with him. But how about this? Brad Marchand asked yesterday at the practice by Leafs media, oh, you guys are out of a playoff spot. Nobody here seems to panic. But, in Toronto, the world's ending. And Marchand's like, did you see the clip? He's like, we're 25 games into this. Yeah, he's like, we're 25 games into the season. If you think that they're missing the playoffs, you need a new job. And he's talking about the media. And don't get me going, but I will say this. A former network analyst at the Canadian Big Shot, I'm not going to say who, I don't want to out him because he's a great guy, friend of mine. He's back working in hockey now, but he's a former player, worked with the network, and now he's back. He goes, I can't believe the people at the network don't even know the game. That my coworkers don't even know the game. And it's like, it's too much, Mitch. It's too much. Like the college football thing in the States, that also, the Lane Kiffin thing's too much, which are also on you. But I mean, I don't even watch it. I can't. It's bad.
There's too much of it, if you ask me. I can turn on the TV, and it's the way it goes. Like, if we look south of the border, you've got McAfee's show, which talks NFL and college. You've got college football today. You've got NFL Live. That's just on ESPN. You go to Fox Sports 1. They've got their own shows. You take a look in Canada, and Sports Center or Jay Onright, they break it down every game. They obviously focus on the Canadian teams, more so on the Leafs. You go to Sportsnet, and it's Kiprios. It's I can't remember her name that hosts it with Justin Cuthbert. Then you get the games itself. Like, it's too much. And you're right. Like, after a while, it's just, you know what? I just want to watch the game. And if I hear Ron McLean or David Amber in the intermission with the panel, or Duthie if it's on TSN, so be it. But, as I said, You've got Overdrive on TSN. You've got all these shows on Sportsnet. It's all the same thing. It's just different heads talking about the same thing.
I know. Let me just stop you for a second because you're right. In the States, it's the same, but it's football. In Canada, it's hockey. But it's like, can we at least have people on the air that know what they're doing? And the reason I was smiling as you were talking was I was thinking about last year when the Leafs lost their first 2 preseason games, and the rookie reporter says to Craig Berube, "Are you panicking because you've lost 2 preseason games?" Do you remember the look on his face? He was like, Listen, if you're going to send somebody down that's right out of school or is, on a practicum, fine. Let them hold the mic. Don't let them ask the questions.
But that's the thing, Rod, is that nowadays there are people that shouldn't even be at those things. How many times did we go to a Riders scrum and we'd see somebody from CBC that we'd never seen before who's at the legislature all the time, and all of a sudden he thinks, oh, I'm going to show that I belong, and ask a stupid question.
Well, that's okay. So what you're saying is it's not new.
Is going today, Rod.
What you're saying is it's not new, but there was a female reporter in Boston who's all basically in tears, posting on social media about she got roasted by Bruins fans. Didn't know what she was talking about. And she's like, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to learn. And this is I'm like, it's not even her fault. She shouldn't have been put on the air in the first place.
I hear you.
Okay. I'm clearly preaching to the choir. So, hey, Matthew Hyman writes in from Winnipeg and says, what time is Jamie Thomas on? I'll try to get some Winnipeg sports talkers in here. Thank you, Matthew. He is on at 1:15 Eastern. Hour 2, second segment. Thank you. An hour from now, basically. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he goes, man, if I had a nickel for every time a reporter asked a stupid question, I'd be the owner of a franchise by now. Okay. Maybe I just need to back off a little bit. But so morphs into the next point. I'm glad you're with me here, Scruffy, because I'm bouncing off. And I haven't even got to Lane Kiffin with you yet. Do not leave until I ask you about Lane Kiffin. But tonight, Carter Hart, I'm reading the Canadian Press story. This is all true, what I'm reading here. Carter Hart, one of 5 players acquitted in the London, Ontario sexual assault trial tied to Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey Team, is reportedly expected to start in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks. Hart signed with Vegas in October, and his league-mandated suspension was lifted yesterday as it hit December the 1st. You're like me. I just want to watch the games. I want to see how he does tonight in goal for Vegas against Chicago. But now I'm sitting watching the Vegas media and anybody that's on the trail of, and just so you know, most people won't talk about this, but we can. They can't let it die. And this isn't like Michael Vick, who went to jail, served a prison term, and no, that was a totally different crime, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
They were acquitted. They were acquitted. And the NHL, if they didn't feel, because they don't like PR nightmares, the NHL. So if they were willing to investigate all of this and move on, why can't everybody else?
Well, that's today's society, Rod. Like, I think you answered your own question. It's today's society. What Carter Hart, how do I sort of put, you can't win in this situation. Like, there are people that are, yes, Carter Hart and those others should play. There are others that aren't, and you can't win the argument, Rod. But you're right. He was acquitted. And if he's acquitted, it means that his career continues. Now, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks there, but the Vegas Golden Knights have taken a lot of those away. But the bottom line is that Carter Hart was in a hotel room and got himself in a situation that he shouldn't have been in. He's not the first person to do that. He won't be the last person to do that. And this is going to follow him and those other guys for the rest of their career.
Well,
and
I guess.
It's not just hockey, Rod. It's football. How many times did we see with Ray Lewis, who got acquitted of a murder charge? But when he came back to play,
Yeah.
It's,
Well, Ray Lewis
it's
went
a
into the Hall of
very
Fame, though,
fine
right?
line to walk. What's that?
Sure, but I'm just saying, Ray Lewis went into the Hall of Fame, did he not? After all of that, I'm pretty sure Ray Lewis is in the Hall of Fame.
Is he
So
an NFL
my
Hall
point
of
is,
Famer? Yeah, I don't know if he is or
I'm
not.
sure he is. I'll look
at
it up.
Michael Irvin. Look at Michael Irvin.
Yeah. Oh, you don't got to tell me he's a Cowboys fan.
I know.
So, anyways, I'll say this because when we come back, we'll talk about the CFL. The Argos have a new coach, and I do want to ask you about Lane Kiffin. But the thing with Vegas, Kelly McCrimmon, is about winning first, period. You seen it, and I saw it. We had a front row seat for a generation as he was kicking our ass, and we were wishing he was our GM. And he's doing all the same things in Vegas. All that matters is winning, period. Deal with it. And that's why Carter Hart's playing with the Vegas Golden Knights. And part of why the Edmonton Oilers wouldn't sign him for the reasons that we all just mentioned. Hang on. Yeah, I know. In 30 seconds, you aren't going to be able to wrap up your thoughts on that. So sit tight, mister. Sit tight, mister. We'll be right back. We're live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network, YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio. Get your texts in, too, by the way, 902-518-3033. We'll be right back after this.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th. It all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
We're back, everybody. Does your message stand out at Outlaw Communications? They make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise to the role, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. Talking about Carter Hart back in nets tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights, or in an NHL net for the first time with Vegas. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, success forgives a lot. And Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, Pac-Man Jones, he was a mess and came back again and again. Please remind me of Pac-Man Jones. I'll talk about him later when Scruffy's gone. It was a different era, though. It was a different era, Mitch. I don't think he'd get away with it now, Pac-Man. Do you? Hey, can you hear me?
Sorry,
Mitch?
I missed the question. Yeah, but
Would Pac-Man Jones be able to get away with it now? What he got away with before?
No, I don't think so. Same with Antonio Brown.
He's going to the big house. Okay. Yeah. Hey. Okay. I hope in this segment we have time to get to all the football topics that I want to. Once Scruffy adjourns, it'll be way more hockey, and Jamie Thomas coming up in hour 2 from the Winnipeg Jets TV and podcast. Point 3 of the Quick Six, the Toronto Argonauts have a new head coach. According to TSN, the network reports the Argos are handing the ball to 55-year-old Mike Miller, who's been the team's quarterbacks coach since 2022. The Pittsburgh Products coached in every league in football, including 2 years as offensive coordinator with the NFL's Arizona Cardinals. The fact that I can't pick him out of a lineup isn't Mike Miller's fault. It's not a sexy name, though. What did you think when you heard this report yesterday?
I was the same as you, but I'm just going to say this to you. And we both covered the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 2007. How many times did we talk to Ken Miller when Kent Austin was the head coach? And look at the job that Ken Miller did. So, have the Argos done that? I guess time will tell. Is Mike Miller getting this job by default? It would appear as if maybe that's the case, but let's see what he can do. He'll be better than John Heward.
Oh, that guy is... That guy is crazy. There's a lot of crazy football coaches. The other night, he's still in the league, so I'm not going to say any more about Mike Gibson. But, dude, okay, stop. My heart just fluttered. Jeremy in Winnipeg just said, does Scruffy ever smile? I'm like, it takes me 0.3 seconds to get Scruffy smiling, so just hold on. You should have asked earlier. Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, great morning. Your show is always lit because of URP. I follow NHL and mostly Canadian teams. It's pretty cray. How far we come in life. He says, can the Canucks hang with Florida? No, hang on. Let's just stay on point here for a second. Number one, I was talking to football guys over the last couple of weeks, and Mike Miller's name had come up. They all know Mike Miller. They like him. Sounds like he'll be okay. But Scruffy brought up John Heward. Were you at the news conference? Just play along with me. 1999-2000, Jeff Fairholm was the receivers coach with the Argos. He's my favorite Rough Rider ever. So the Argos were in Regina to play the Rough Riders. And I said to John Heward, I very rarely asked a question because usually you, Mitch, were asking all the questions and sucking all the air out of the room. But I said, Coach Heward, I was talking to Jeff Fairholm yesterday, and he said, blah, 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 blah. Heward goes, you were talking to Jeff Fairholm? Yeah. Does he want to be fired? I don't know. Is that a problem? My assistant coaches are not to be speaking to the media. Well, that sounds like a you problem. Back to the point, and then Heward got fired at the end of the year. I think Fairholm quit. That guy was nuts. Why would you bring up John Heward, of all people?
Well, it just came across.
I would ask you the craziest coach snap stories that you've ever seen, but I seem to remember Brian Maxwell swatting your tape recorder out of your hand.
Brian Maxwell.
swatting your tape recorder out of your hands 30 feet down the hallway. Did that just happen? Do you remember what you said to him that set Maxie off? Because I do. I do.
I do too. The Lethbridge Hurricanes were well up on the Regina Pats in, I think it was game 1 of a playoff series. The Pats
1996.
and it just appeared that you guys just sort of like stopped skating in the third period. What happened? And
that's exactly
said,
what you said.
Are you saying that we quit? And I said, well, yeah. And he just snapped.
Oh, my God. What you actually said, because we still have it on tape, and ladies and gentlemen, this was 30 years ago. But Mitch goes, what happened? Did your team get a lead and then quit? He goes, basically, he's like, he wasn't smoking, but he might as well have been. Are you effing asking me, or are you effing telling me? Whack! And he swatted your tape recorder 30 feet down the Agrodome. Oh, my God. Any other coach snap stories that come to mind?
Nope. Was that the same series, Roddy, where Brian Maxwell then choked the officials at the end of the series?
Yeah, the next night. Allegedly.
No.
Allegedly.
No, the next night was that marathon overtime game.
Okay,
it went like 5
2 nights
overtimes,
later.
and Paul Romanek said, what am I doing here? And then that series ended, I think, with Brian Maxwell assaulting the referees at the Sportsplex.
Allegedly. He got off. So we can't say that he did it, or we'll be in legal trouble.
Well, there's a picture that pretty much proves it.
Oh, my God, I love it so much. The guy asked if you laughed. It don't take much.
Good old days.
Oh, my God, we're running. Well, maybe that's why they don't send reporters like us down there anymore. They just send people to ask stupid questions. How do the coaches not snap now? Anyways,
right?
Lane Kiffin leaving LSU, leaving Ole Miss for LSU in the middle of the season. My question I have here is, would you hire Lane Kiffin if you were the AD of a school with unlimited money like LSU?
Probably. Because you're trying to get that program back to where it was when Ed Orgeron had it, when they had Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And those are just 3 guys just off the top of my head. It might have been the greatest college football team ever assembled. But you take a look at Lane Kiffin's history, and it's like, do you think this is going to end well for LSU if they don't succeed immediately? And you have to wonder, Roddy, how many times did Alabama go back and other schools maybe go back and ask Nick Saban if he was interested in coming back to college football?
No, I'm sure the calls were made.
Right. I think Nick Saban is happy doing his thing on College Game Day, dealing with McAfee and Herb Street and Desmond Howard, and he does a great job on that show. I think Nick Saban's done with that, but Lane Kiffin isn't. But, man, what a story Lane Kiffin has written over the past few years.
Good or bad?
Depends on who you talk to, I guess.
Well, it's all on perspective. Yeah, because I said yesterday that Lane Kiffin's everything that's bad about college football. I had college coaches writing me going, no, he's not. I'm like, well, you would say that because he's driving up all your wages and you're not accountable to stay anywhere. What's good about that?
I just want to know this. How is it that a school can actively recruit somebody when their season is still going on? Like, that would be like the Toronto Argonauts without their head coach going, oh, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are in the playoffs. Hey, let's get Corey Mace. And
that's
at the end
whole...
of the Western Final, Corey Mace says, yeah, I'm leaving, but I'd like to coach the team in the Grey Cup first. Like, that doesn't happen.
And
how
the coach
does college football get away with this?
Because there's no rule against it.
I guess.
Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, the thing I don't get about this Lane Kiffin thing is he isn't even a good coach, is he? Ole Miss ain't making the playoffs. I'll get to that after the break because, as I said, Boca Raton, Florida, where I live, he's very well thought of. He won the Boca Bowl with the FAU Owls. That's where he went when he fled Alabama. Nick Saban fired him before they got on the team bus after the national championship in 2017 because he'd heard that Kiffin was interviewing for this other job. Lane Kiffin is the worst thing about college football. He doesn't want to admit it. And then blames Pete Carroll. Well, Pete said I should take it. Oh, my God. Okay, Scruffy, this has been too much fun. Talk to you in a week.
We'll see you later.
Or whenever the hell it is. Okay, thanks, Mitch. Everybody, when we come back, don't go anywhere yet, Mitch. We'll be right back with a sports update viewer takeover here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. By the way, the Junior Hockey Report, we do it every day in the winter for the Mad Greek here in Moose Jaw. The Western Hockey League announced Everett Silvertips defenseman and Anaheim Ducks prospect Terrence Smith has been named WHL Player of the Week. The 19-year-old from Porcupine Plain, Sask, registered 7 points and a +3 rating in 3 games as the Tips went 2-1 this past week. And San Jose Sharks prospect and Prince George goalie Joshua Ravensbergen has been named Goalie of the Week. The 19-year-old recorded a 29-save shutout in his lone appearance this past week. He was selected by the San Jose Sharks in the first round, 30th overall of the 2025 NHL Draft. Come on down to the Mad Greek and find out why it's everybody in Moose Jaw's favorite restaurant. I ain't joking. Main Street Moose Jaw. So we got hung up on some things there from Scruffy, which is exactly what I wanted to do. We didn't get through all of our topics, so I'm just going to morph the rest of the topics into the sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone, which we'll get to here right away. We were talking about Lane Kiffin earlier, and Jason's like, I don't get why this guy's so successful. Well, I get it. He was very successful, won national championships as the offensive coordinator with Nick Saban in Alabama. I mentioned that he was at FAU, where I live, Florida Atlantic University. He won the Boca Bowl there with them, which doesn't really mean anything. It's not a national championship. It's just a lower-tier bowl game, but they still won, which FAU doesn't usually win anything. So he won there, and this has been the best 6-year run in Mississippi history for the Rebels, Ole Miss. So he was on his way to winning there. That's the whole. Everybody knows that he's a great coach. That's, he was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders at 31, took over Tennessee at 34. But he always leaves early. He ends messily. And he might have been the guy, frankly, that started this whole trend of no football coaches staying anywhere for very long. I'm not joking. When I got to get on the phone with some of my football guys and tell me, was Lane Kiffin a trailblazer of this? But to talk about the fear or just leaving your team mid-season, Scruffy just painted the picture very well in Canadian terms. Can you imagine the Argos without their coach in the playoffs, just calling the Rough Riders coach in the week of the West Final? Hey, by the way, you're not allowed to do that. But in college football, you can. And I've learned this, and if you care, I know this is the Canadian Hour. I was just like you people in Canada, not really following it that much. But when you're living in South Florida, which is a football mecca, just like hockey in Canada, it's all they talk about, it's all they do. And so the other day, a couple Saturdays ago, I was at a buddy's house watching his kid play college football on TV, and he's telling me about all the college offers the kid has for next season with other schools. I'm like, you're still playing in the regular season. The schools that are out of it now are planning for next year, which includes LSU, which is where Lane Kiffin went. They can't wait. What if Ole Miss makes a college football playoff and goes all the way to the national championship? That's in the new year. LSU's got a plan for next year, so there's no mechanism. They got to start getting players, stealing players, collecting money to pay them, and they need a guy running this show. And there's no rule against teams doing what LSU did here. And will there ever be? I think that might be the best question that we'll have to get to with Jim Barker, because now you see these coaches leaving at all levels every year. And I said to Jim Barker a couple of weeks ago, why do they do it? Why can't they just be happy where they are? And Jim said, more money, more power. That's what they're after. And in CFL terms, it's Chris Jones, my good friend. He doesn't. Now, the other day, I was in the gym talking to my friend Jan, older guy, Miami Hurricanes season ticket holder. We were talking about Lane Kiffin, and he goes, Lane's got happy feet. I didn't even need to ask him what he meant by that. Can't stay in one place for too long. I would think it would be a really crappy way to live, but I don't know. It's sports now. I mean, here I am in Moose Jaw this week, and I've been working on 1-year contracts with the Miller Express baseball team, 1-year deals. I don't know if I'm going to be back next summer. I don't know. It's not even 2026 yet. That's just the way that it is now. It's not like I'm going to leave to some other team if they plop down more money. In the case of Lane Kiffin, $13 million a year. Sitting here on my soapbox, but will he regret this? Will LSU regret this? Like, I've talked to so many pro football players, frankly, that have jumped from the Canadian Football League to the NFL, which at the time when it was just a little more money, now it's a lot more money, but at the time, remember, I'm old, they left for $10,000 bonus or something, and it's like, I should have stayed. I would have made way more money long-term had I stayed. But you don't look at it that way. Lane's also not a young man. He's 50. Guys also like a challenge. And then the other thing here, Jason and Red Deer says, Ole Miss ain't making the playoffs. That's another discussion for maybe next hour, but they are ranked in the top 12 with Lane Kiffin as their coach. With him bolting, you wouldn't think they'd be the same team. So I don't think it's a slam dunk that they're going to be in the 12 teams that make the playoffs, but we'll see. That's decided by a selection committee. It's gross. On the Argos hiring the new coach, Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, Mike Miller is similar to Ryan Dinwiddie, actually took notes from Coach Mike Miller. He will have a high-power offense in Toronto. He's actually a great players coach. There you go from Arlen Bruce, two-time Grey Cup champion. To the sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone, back on point because it is wintertime. Talking hockey, the Montreal Canadiens host the Ottawa Senators in an all-Canadian NHL rivalry tonight. A rivalry matchup. Elsewhere, the Toronto Maple Leafs visit the Florida Panthers. The Calgary Flames face the Predators in Nashville in a game that should be sponsored by Mr. Plummer. Whew. Two teams in the toilet there are going to tangle in Music City tonight. The Edmonton Oilers host the Minnesota Wild. I didn't even have a chance to talk to Scruffy about that matchup. And the Vancouver Canucks take on the league-leading Colorado Avalanche in Denver. Let me just pause this for a second. Now that Scruffy's gone and we call this viewer takeover segment, although I feel like, we got time to get your answers. After last night's Patriots motorboating the Giants 33-15 on Monday Night Football, Patriots the first team to 11 wins. What's a legit Super Bowl matchup? We talked about that earlier and some people were writing in. I would still like to know what you think is a legit Super Bowl matchup because I don't remember a year where there's been this many legit contenders to be in the Super Bowl, let alone win it. And then for the Stanley Cup final, it's going to be Colorado and who? Canucks and Avalanche meet tonight in Denver, as I've just mentioned. Colorado's just rolling to it. It's been a very dominant regular season for the Colorado Avalanche, keeping in mind that it is only the first week of December. But who's your Stanley Cup final is my point. Colorado and, tell you what, Moose, who I'm texting back and forth here with this morning, he picks Colorado, Carolina every year. I know that sounds like a country song, but it's not. Colorado, Carolina, every year Moose picks it. One of these years he's got to be right. Maybe it's this year. Both are in my top 5 NHL teams. The Toronto Raptors look to get back in the win column tonight after a 9-game streak. The Raps have dropped 2 straight, heading into a home matchup with the Portland Trailblazers. Toronto sits 3rd in the East at 14-7. Portland 8-12. That has them 10th in the West. That's the sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store here in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. And I was a little, not intimidated. I'm not intimidated to walk into my home province where I lived for a half a century. I was a little concerned about the weather coming up here from Florida. But it's been a breeze. -6 this morning when I was out for my morning walk. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Stopped and took photos. The sun hadn't come up yet. People have their wonderful Christmas displays. We do have those in Florida, but we don't have snow. So it's like there's so many unbelievable views in this town. People often say, why Moose Jaw? Why do I have to explain it? I love it. Jeff in Calgary writes in regarding Jeff the Stamps fan regarding the Super Bowl matchup. He says it will be Alex Singleton's Broncos versus the Rams. That would be a good matchup, and that's very legit. Mentioned the Patriots are the first team to 11 wins. Denver's got 10. I'll take 2 teams that nobody picked. Well, Arash did. I got to give him credit for that. Nobody, and not one person picked the Denver Broncos to do what they're doing. Jeff in Toronto says Colorado and Montreal. For the Stanley Cup? Clearly you're a Habs fan, Jeff in Toronto. Last I checked, Montreal wasn't even in a playoff spot. Rob is watching. Where are you, Rob? You are in the Queen City. He says Colorado and Washington for the Cup. I can't say you're wrong. He says, and love the Jaw. It's the kind of place that the people that live here are like, don't spread it around. We know it's awesome. Just keep it to yourself. Florida's very similar to that. We got snakes and alligators. Stay the hell out. Mosquitoes the size of birds. Kirk in Toronto writes in, hey, Rod, I do listen to Overtime on TSN radio, but tune out all the TV hockey pucks on Sportsnet. And then he took a shot at one of the hosts. I can't say that guy. It is what it is. Didn't get to our NHL picks yet, but we did. We will. 9 games in the National Hockey League tonight. Jamie Thomas joining us from Winnipeg Jets TV. I'm very excited to chat with Jamie. Good, long-time friend of mine. My man, Jamie Thomas, will join us from the Manitoba Capital. Lots to get into next hour. Stick around, everybody. Refresh your coffee, and we'll be right back here on Game Plus Television.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's the really big show. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show on a Tuesday. Believe it or not, it's episode number 1630. As always, we're coming to you across Canada on the Game Plus television network in 32 U.S. states, and now across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And that's actually where we're going to open with our quick six show topics in a second, but I'm just going to tell you that if you like, I got my Winnipeg Jets bunny hug on. That's what we say. That's what we call it here in Saskatchewan. Everybody else in the world calls it a hoodie. Jamie Thomas from Winnipeg Jets Television is going to be joining us. He is the host of their online coverage, some of their television coverage. Jamie Thomas, longtime friend of mine, coming up. And the Jets are in the news, not necessarily in a good way. But we got football to get to, NBA if we have time. Kind of find out who the secondary team of NBA team of this show will be. We'll reveal that later on in the program. NFL, a lot of stuff to get to. We're going to open with the National Hockey League, however. Let's flip the page to tonight. Carter Hart is set to start in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks. Hart signed with Vegas in October, and his league-mandated suspension was lifted on December the 1st. He was one of 5 players acquitted in the London, Ontario sexual assault trial tied to Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey Team. He last played an NHL game in January of 2024 before being put on an indefinite leave of absence by the league. So I would suggest of the 9 games in the National Hockey League tonight, all eyes will be on Vegas to see how he plays. I'm sitting here. We're now airing on Las Vegas television on a daily basis. Quasi Golden Knights fan. I do have a lot of friends with the organization, and we'd like, just focus on hockey. I'm also watching news coverage around this, both in Nevada and Nevada, about Carter Hart. There we go. There we go. Apologies, having some connection issues there, but we're good. Yep, we're good. So Carter Hart gets the nod tonight. I'm just communicating with producer Corey here right now. And I'm just, like I said, more than anything, not picking a side, just hoping that this can somewhat end soon. It's a different story than, as we mentioned earlier, Michael Vick in the NFL was convicted of a crime, went to prison, came out and played again. Different crime, different story. 1 hour ago, Scruffy was co-hosting with us on the game. He was mentioning Ray Lewis being accused of murder, acquitted. One of the viewers brought up Man Jones, always getting in trouble in the NFL, specifically the Bengals, but he all coming back. And because would he survive in today's society, sports? Probably not. But the one thing about the general manager of the Vegas Golden, talking with a long-time hockey guy about this yesterday, he watches our show every day. He said, we all know Kelly. Winning matters, number one, to the general manager of the Golden Knights, period. And as a guy who was a rival of McCrimmon's for years, kind of wish that our gentleman acted the same. Winning trumps all. A lot of pressure on the young man tonight. Carter Hart in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll be watching that one of 9 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, Monday, Josh Norris had 2 goals and an assist in his return from an upper body injury to help the Buffalo Sabres down the Jets 5-1. I'm sitting there clicking the remote control going, why is this not on? I'm in the Bermuda Triangle of hockey right now, Saskatchewan. Why am I not getting this on TSN 3? Oh, check the calendar, Rod. It's Monday. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. Well, thank God my Prime Video subscription in the U.S. works in Canada. I tuned into this, and like anything in sports now, I was unable to stay for the whole game, but I stayed for enough to see the Winnipeg Jets are not the same team without Connor Hellebuck. Their MVP goaltender, they have lost 5 of 6 without him. They've been rotating backup goalies, Eric Comrie and Thomas Milic, but it didn't matter for the Winnipeg Jets last night. They were awful. Sabres were skating circles around them. Buffalo's now won 2 in a row, and the Jets are out of a playoff spot. And listen, I know there are a lot of Jets fans that watch this show across Canada and also in Nevada. There's a lot of former Winnipeggers that live in Vegas and watch this show, and they still follow the Jets. So they have slipped out of a playoff spot, and that's our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? Interestingly, as of this morning, 57% of respondents were saying yes, they'll make the playoffs. That's not convincing. And then last I checked, like an hour ago, it's 58% are saying no, they won't. It's all going to depend on the health of Connor Hellebuck. What we're seeing here is something that Winnipeggers have known for a very long time. Connor Hellebuck is the Winnipeg Jets. They can't win without him. And for those of us that scoffed and said he can't win the big game, la-di-da, he's all that. 4 to 6 weeks is the shelf time for Connor Hellebuck. When he's back, I expect the problems will be behind them. But since he's been out, and what's it been? A little over a week, 10 days, they have not been able to find a way to play in front of him, in front of his replacements, I should say, and win hockey games. So they just can't continue to free fall. But I think we all know that. Also Monday, Pittsburgh Penguins star Sidney Crosby scored twice in a 5-1 win over the Philadelphia Flyers, pushing his goal total to 18 through 25 games this season. And Macklin Celebrini picked up 3 assists last night in the Sharks' romp over the LA Kings. Moving on, point 2 of the Quick Six show topics to the NFL. That's why a lot of people came here today to talk about that. Drake May passed for 2 touchdowns as the New England Patriots beat the New York Giants 33-15 on Monday Night Football to close the Week 13 in the NFL. They became the first NFL team to reach 11 wins this season. Did you watch it? Did you watch it all? As I was saying earlier, there's just, unless it's my team, I'm not watching the whole game. And even then, if it's the Dallas Cowboys, yeah. But no, this thing was over by the end of the first quarter. I was talking to my guy, Chris from the Bronx. He's the biggest Giants fan I know, and I know many, and he shut it off. He's like, they're awful, the Giants. But as far as New England, let's talk about something positive. 10 straight wins, first team to 11 wins, as I said. Denver's next with 10. What's the legitimate, most likely Super Bowl matchup? I was actually asking the viewers that last hour. And here come all the comments. 902-518-3033 is the text line to reach us here. As I dip in, Jeremy writes in, he says, I seen Jackson Dart get completely leveled on the sidelines. Yeah, well, that was in the first quarter when we were all still watching, or at the very least the first half. And when he was hit, were you like me thinking, that's a rookie? Scruffy mentioned last hour, what would happen if Patrick Mahomes was hit like that? The answer is he wouldn't be hit like that. He would have dipped out of bounds a yard or 2 before that, or he would have hook slid. Jackson Dart is still wet behind the ears. That's how they learn. Back to the Winnipeg for a second. Matt Hyman writes in, he's watching in Winnipeg. He says, it's fine. Everything's fine. Rod, their defensive structure is not there currently. Clearly. As I said, you let the Buffalo Sabres skate circles around you. This can't all be put on the backup goaltenders, and I know that's what everybody's doing, but I see it in Florida all the time with the Panthers. They play differently in front of the backup. Same thing's happening with the Winnipeg Jets right now. Brent writes in, Brent Patrician, he says, good morning, Rod from Saskatoon. I watched some of the Patriots-Giants game last night, turned into a bit of a stinker. Ended up watching something else. Well, in the TV business, they don't want blowouts for the exact reason you just said. Look, it's Patriots-Giants. talked about it being a rematch of the 2007 Super Bowl. It was a joke. One team's getting back to that form. Another one is nowhere near that form. And we saw it last night. Going in, I'm sure the Giants' rallying cry was, let's stop this win streak of the Patriots. It became very quickly, let's not get embarrassed. And they weren't able to do that. Jeremy writes in, he says, we've seen Mahomes get hit and say, good hit. That's true. That's true. He has taken the hits. He'll pat the defender on the butt and say, good hit. Good call. I'm bringing this back on point here right now. It's my bad. I asked for the viewer comments, and they're all over the place. ADD today. Point 3, when the College Football Playoff Selection Committee releases its next set of rankings, it will place a value of its own on Lane Kiffin with their decision on where to rank his old school Mississippi in its latest top 25. The selection committee can consider, this is the Associated Press committee, just so you know, not the actual College Football Playoff Committee. Okay. My camera's not working. I'm going to read this again. When the College Football Playoff Selection Committee releases its next set of rankings, it will place a value of its own on Lane Kiffin with their decision on where to rank his old school Mississippi. The committee can consider the availability of coaches and players when it sets the rankings. How it handles Kiffin's departure over the weekend is among the biggest mysteries for the last set of rankings before the bracket is locked in on Sunday. So, as Lane Kiffin got set to meet with the media he did meet with the media on Monday and have his welcome to the LSU moment. One of the topics we were discussing earlier on the program today is, would you hire Lane Kiffin? And I appreciated the input from the viewers. And they're saying he's not that good. He's never won. And it's like, well, leave it to the football people. They did make a mistake with Brian Kelly, a $50 million mistake. They're not going to make a mistake with Lane Kiffin, I don't believe. The football people know. And as I said, at FAU, he's very fondly thought of there, won a Boca Bowl there. He was the youngest NFL head coach ever hired. It didn't go well with Oakland, but the football people know that Lane Kiffin is the man. The question is, what do they do with Ole Miss, and where do they put him in the playoff selection? We'll find out this week. Jeremy writes in, he says, I'll go Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. Patriots, because of home field in the AFC Championship game. Who goes into Foxborough and wins? LOL. Rams have been the most solid NFC team all year. Well, the other night when I was doing the banquet in my hometown of Milestone, Saskatchewan, there were folks coming up to me that were Dallas Cowboys fans as well and knew that I was. And they were like, how about your Cowboys? I'm like, how about them? Like, wow, we've won 3 in a row. I'm like, yeah, but do you legitimately see the Cowboys being in the Super Bowl? No, me either. I will solicit and maybe even ask Jamie Thomas when he joins us next from Winnipeg Jets TV, which incidentally, I don't even know if Jamie is an NFL fan. He's coming on to talk NHL and Winnipeg Jets, obviously, but what are your legitimate Super Bowl matchups right now for San Francisco? Because it's all out of order. And there has not been a year like this in the National Football League with as many legitimate Super Bowl contenders this late in the season. 8, 9 win teams, 10 and 11 win teams. My Detroit Buffalo prediction is completely out the window. They may both miss the playoffs. Back with Jamie Thomas in a moment here on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continuing here on Game Plus Television and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We are brought to you in part by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. I'm really going to need your help out there, Rod Squad, because we don't have Jamie Thomas with us from Winnipeg Jets TV at the moment. We're working on it, and it has been a day. So I'm going to ask you to please write in with, for fun, we mentioned before the break your Super Bowl components, your Super Bowl matchup, if you will. I'd like to hear your Stanley Cup final combatants as well. Believe me, I got enough notes here in front of me. We can go all day. We can. But without Jamie Thomas here, I was all lined up to talk about the Winnipeg Jets. The topic of our poll question today, will they make the playoffs? It seems to be about a 50-50 proposition here right now. J.E. writes in, he says, the Jets need an outdoor game in Regina. There is something about winning in Regina. Well, yeah, for Winnipeg sports teams. I was out at that outdoor Winter Classic. Winnipeg Jets won it right in overtime, 2-1. That was a wonderful night. But as we await Jamie Thomas in the program, and I'm not sure if we're going to even get him at all. There are 9 games in the National Hockey League tonight. So let's go with our breakaway bets, as new viewers won't be aware of, but the longtime viewers will. It's a little thing we call sport betting. It's like sport fishing, where you catch the fish, you throw it back. Here we make the bet, but we don't put any money on it. It's very safe and fun to play. Of the 9, there actually are some tantalizing matchups tonight in the National Hockey League. The Boston Bruins are at the Detroit Red Wings. When it is an original 6 matchup, some of us just get tingles. The old-time hockey fans. We're going to go with the Detroit Red Wings to take this one tonight. All-Canadian matchup. Those are special, too. Ottawa Senators at the Montreal Canadiens. I feel like Montreal, sorry to say, is who we thought they were. I'm going to take Ottawa to win this one as the road trip continues for the Sens. The Tampa Bay Lightning are the hottest team in the National Hockey League right now. They've won 7 in a row. And the Lightning go into Long Island tonight, facing a middling Islanders squad under the watch of Patrick Roy. I'll take the Lightning to win their 8th in a row. And they're doing this all without captain Victor Hedman. Dallas Stars at the New York Rangers tonight. That's a marquee game. Dallas is one of the top 3 hottest teams in the NHL right now. I can tell you the Rangers are not. I'm going to go with Dallas. It ain't the marquee game of the night, but a lot of us are very interested in it. All of the Leafs Nation is going to be tuned into the game in Sunrise, where the Panthers are home to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to go with the Leafs to win this one tonight. And it hurts. It hurts to go against the Florida Panthers, but I'm really enjoying and it hurts to not be at the game. As the Panthers were on this long road trip. I'm only up here for a week in Canada. I'm going to miss 5 home Panthers games, including this one tonight, obviously. But I was enjoying the comments from Brad Marchand on Monday. I was just alerted to them this morning while reading up on coverage of this game. Toronto reporter, which I didn't recognize his voice, oddly enough, asking Brad Marchand in the scrum, oh, you guys are out of a playoff spot down here. Nobody seems to panic. Up in Canada, the world's ending with the Leafs. And he's like, if you think the season's over for the Leafs right now because they're out of a playoff spot, you need to get a new job. That spanned a lot of what we were talking about last hour in terms of pundits on the air that shouldn't be. Don't get me started. But I'll take the Leafs to win this one tonight. Calgary Flames at the Nashville Predators as we continue with the sport betting. Breakaway bets. Calgary Flames at the Nashville Predators tonight. I think I'll take Nashville to win at home. But this is like picking between pickles and onions. I don't like either one. I'll take the Predators to win this one tonight. Minnesota Wild at the Edmonton Oilers. Oh, boy. Did you know that the Minnesota Wild were an NHL best 11-1-1 in the month of November? They're hot. I'll take the Wild to win at Edmonton tonight. The game that we were mentioning earlier, the Chicago Blackhawks at the Vegas Golden Knights. All eyes at Vegas. Carter Hart making his debut. Oh my God. I'm going to take the Golden Knights to win this one tonight. Washington Capitals at the Los Angeles Kings. That is the 9th and final game as we do our NHL tour, and I will take the Kings to win at home tonight. Keep those comments coming, everybody, please. I'll go back and read the warm-up comments from earlier as well as we hopefully await Jamie Thomas. It's very rare that Jamie would not be joining us. Asking for your Super Bowl matchups, your Stanley Cup matchups. I'm going to read them over the air here, everybody. Let's have a little fun discussion right now. It's the most parity in the history of the National Hockey League. They have the data to back it up. 78% of games are being decided by 1 goal or 2 goals that include an empty netter. Very hard to pick a Stanley Cup winner and probably, or even matchup, and even harder to pick a Super Bowl matchup. On the YouTube chat, fire comments in there, or the text line 902-518-3033. Jason in Red Deer writing in, he says, I'm going to go with the Bills versus the Bears in the Super Bowl, and the Colorado Avalanche versus the New Jersey Devils after Quinn Hughes gets traded to the Devils. Oh, is that happening? Maybe we should go with the wild things that are going to happen, almost like wrong answers only. As I said last hour, Colorado and who in the Stanley Cup final? They are rolling almost a wire-to-wire first place finish in the regular season in the NHL. That doesn't always translate to playoff success, of course, but you're kind of getting the sense with Colorado having the Stanley Cup experience that they do, they'll be the team to do that. Jeremy writing in from Winnipeg, he says, Tampa Bay, Colorado Stanley Cup final. But it's way too early to say. We all know that. That's not the point. As we're saying, just remind yourselves this. Pump the brakes for a second. First 15 games of the NHL season, Pittsburgh takes off like a meteor. Pew! Same thing, Utah. Pew! Montreal. Pew! Pittsburgh. Pew! Where are they all now? Colorado is one of the few to have held strong throughout. And the New Jersey Devils. For you to say Colorado, New Jersey is actually probably... And by the way, nobody's writing this down. This is just a fun discussion we're having today as we're filling time with the absence of Jamie Thomas, who, by the way, texted me back this morning and said he's in. He's good. So did something happen in Winnipeg today, news-wise, sports-wise, with the Jets that we're not aware of? Matt Hyman's watching from Winnipeg. He writes in, he says, get Sarah Orlesky on instead. She's probably with Jamie Thomas. They host the same shows together for Winnipeg Jets TV. You know that. Keep coming with the comments on both leagues, NFL and NHL, if you don't mind. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, I find myself talking myself out of potential Super Bowl matchups. Well, I feel like we all do. That's what's fun about sports. Let me just dip in here for a second on the text line, 902-518-3033. It's actually going remarkably well, filling this time in the absence of Jamie Thomas. And the fact that I don't have a view of my own camera back at me, that's fine. I don't really want to see myself too badly anyways. Greg's watching in Calgary on Game Plus television. He writes in, 902-518-3033. He says, I will say yes on Winnipeg making the playoffs and Rams versus Bills for the Super Bowl. Well, you got more faith in Buffalo than I do. Championship teams don't usually take a week off in the regular season. I know they do from time to time dip. The Chiefs have done it in years that they've won the Super Bowl. But Buffalo, I saw them in Miami. My God, they were awful. And where did they get motorboated? Oh, Houston. 2 Thursdays ago. Buffalo does not look like a team that's even primed for the playoffs, let alone to get to the Super Bowl. But again, that's what's fun about sports, and nobody can predict the way that it's going to go. 902-518-3033. That is the Western Dodge text line. Matt writing in from Winnipeg, he says, Saskatchewan and Manitoba are the same time right now, so don't blame the time zones. I didn't. Well, as we sit here, and we are on U.S. television as well, here's what's making the news on both sides of the border. Denny Hamlin, a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, has outlined the financial struggles facing NASCAR teams. He testified Tuesday in a federal antitrust trial against NASCAR, saying his team spent over $700,000 in fees to the series in 2022. The trial began Monday, brought by 23X1 Racing, co-owned by Hamlin and Michael Jordan, and Front Row Motorsports. They argue NASCAR's revenue model is unfair. Hamlin said losing a single sponsor could erase profits. He also criticized the TV deal that favors streaming over traditional sponsors. The trial is expected to last 2 weeks. NASCAR denies any wrongdoing. I had no idea this was even going on. But what I can tell you from a sports business perspective, if you are not one of NFL, NBA, MLB, or NHL, you're struggling to make money as a league, period. Book it. Here's another one. As we roll along, breaking news from this Tuesday, Cleveland Guardians pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz are facing a May trial on charges that they took bribes to help gamblers betting on their pitches. U.S. District Court Judge Kayo Matsumoto today said jury selection would begin May 4th in Brooklyn Federal Court, with the trial opening the following week or sooner. Prosecutors told the judge at the brief hearing that both sides have been in pre-trial discussions but have not talked about a possible plea deal in the case. The pitchers and their lawyers declined to comment outside the courtroom. They're due back in court January the 15th. The Los Angeles Clippers are facing significant challenges this season despite having stars like Chris Paul, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. The team has struggled. A 140-123 loss to Miami last night dropped them to 5-16. The Clippers were expected to be championship contenders, but injuries and an aging roster have hindered their performance. They currently sit near the bottom of the Western Conference standings. Coach Tyronn Lue and the team are searching for solutions, but time is running out. Only 7 teams in NBA history have started this poorly and made the playoffs. I was mentioning off the top of the broadcast when we set sail back 90 minutes ago that we have discovered that there are more than just the Toronto Raptors that will be the home team of the RP show, because we're based in Toronto on the Game Plus television network, which, by the way, the Raptors look to get back in the win column tonight as they welcome the Portland Trailblazers. They had a 9-game win streak snap going into the weekend with losses to the Hornets and the Knicks. They got the Trailblazers in there tonight. Portland 8-12, 10th in the West. I was tipped off by producer Corey that, and I didn't know this despite all the time that I've spent in Las Vegas, that the Vegas team, or I should have known, the Vegas NBA team, the rooting interest in Sin City is the Phoenix Suns. I should have known. So I'll spend a little more time paying attention to the Phoenix Suns. That's another city that we may be going to? Possibly. Well, what I can tell you is there are 6 games in the NBA tonight, including Portland at Toronto. The Phoenix Suns are off. I am more than happy dipping into some coverage of the Phoenix Suns on the RP show. Trust me. I like that town. I like that team. I like me some Steve Nash. Mike Wynn is watching in Winnipeg at Ice Time Sports. Shout out to Michael Wynn. He writes in with a response to the poll question. He said 100% yes, the Winnipeg Jets are making the playoffs. They're going through a funk right now, and they'll deal with it. All will be fine. I'm with you, and just so you know, I voted for yes in the poll. The poll question today for EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau is, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? As of the morning, 58% were saying yes. By the afternoon, 57% saying no, the Winnipeg Jets are not going to make the playoffs. One thing that I'm good at, and there's not a lot of things, but one is finding polarizing questions, topics, and polls. It's one of my few talents. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Tony, you make a very good point. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta. He likes his hoops. He writes in and he says, Oklahoma City, because of SGA. I even know who that is. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP from Hamilton, Ontario. And I'm sure Tony was watching the broadcast. This was before we went to air in Nevada in September. Way back in June, we went out to Burlington, Ontario, basically, in my opinion, a suburb of Toronto. I hope that I'm not saying that wrong. I'm not an Ontarian. But walking around Burlington and that whole area was damn cool. It was June. The NBA Finals were on. Oklahoma City were in the finals. And as I was looking in all the restaurants, the bars, hotels, they all had the game on, the NBA game. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is definitely on, well, the Raptors are Ontario's NBA team, but Oklahoma would be number 2. I'm not sure it plays on Nevada television. But, Tony, you're a P1. You're a priority viewer, so your opinion matters. Jeremy writes in, he says, Josh Allen is Phillip Rivers. Oh, God, I hope not. For Josh Allen's sake, I hope not. I'll take Hall of Fame quarterbacks saddled with bad teams, which Bills aren't a bad team. They have played bad at times this year, and that's why it's threatening my Super Bowl prediction. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, did you visit the Burlington Coat Factory, Rod? LOL. I did not. As a matter of fact, I don't think there are Burlington Coat Factories in Canada. I may be wrong on that. But anyways, keep it going. I want Stanley Cup final predictions and Super Bowl matchup predictions. I feel like mine's blown out of the water in both leagues based on what's happened as we hurtle down the home stretch in the NFL and just past the quarter pole in the NHL. So we'll get to more of a sports update, but we need more viewer content, viewer takeover when we return. You're watching on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network across Nevada and, of course, across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network. We'll be right back.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on this Tuesday. Just received word from Jamie Thomas, Winnipeg Jets TV. Something came up. We will have to reschedule the interview with Jamie, and that's okay. I think right now might not be the best time and the most fun time to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets. But as I have said many times, and we're anchored in Toronto and NHL Town on Game Plus TV, and Las Vegas and NHL Town on Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. They love the hockey talk on the show. So we'll get Jamie Thomas back another day. We do have some news. Breaking, nothing crazy. You don't need to sit down for this as we look at a sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone and Moose Jaw, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. It's where I got this Winnipeg Jets hoodie, and I even wore this today for the Jamie appearance. Visit Ultimate Fan Zone today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Hall of Fame baseball players Ferguson Jenkins, Jim Cott, Juan Marichal, Tony Perez, Ozzie Smith, Alan Trammell, and Robin Yount are among 16 members of the Contemporary Era Committee that will consider an 8-man Hall ballot that includes Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Don Mattingly, and Dale Murphy. Owners Mart Atanasio of the Milwaukee Brewers and Art Moreno of the LA Angels also are on the committee that will gather Sunday at the winter meetings in Orlando. They will be joined by former Major League general managers Kim Ng, Doug Melvin, Tony Reagans, and Terry Ryan, and media members Tyler Kepner and Jason Stark. Of The Athletic and historian Steve Hurt, the Hall said today. Again, they're going to decide if Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Don Mattingly, and Dale Murphy, one of, or some of, or all, will get into Cooperstown. That would be one hell of a poll question. For every single one of those guys, should they be Hall of Famers? Again, they all are, but now's a different time. to golf. So much about the future of Tiger Woods is uncertain. Tiger said today in the Bahamas he has just been cleared to chip and putt since a 7th back surgery on October the 10th. He is not playing in his Hero World Challenge and said he won't be playing in the PNC Championship in 2 weeks with his son. Even the indoor TGL League will have to wait. As for the Ryder Cup, he turned down the captaincy for this year and was thought to be the logical choice for Ireland in 2027. Tiger said this morning, quote, "No one's asked me about it," unquote. I haven't seen the end. I'm pretty sure he was smiling when he said it. That's not to say there hasn't been plenty of discussions between the PGA and of America and Tiger's manager. Tiger can say a lot with a few words. Translation, he's not ready to talk about that just yet. And that is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. I appreciate the crew rallying, big time rallying, as we fill time today with our guest dipping out on who you think your Super Bowl combatants will be. Arlen Bruce writes in, former Kansas City Chief. Appreciate you hanging with us throughout today, AB. You are another Priority One viewer. He says, it's looking good for me and my team to attend the Grey Cup in Calgary in 2026 of November. I have a major connection with Airbnb. I'd love to join you there, AB. I'm just trying to get through the next 15 minutes, let alone next year's Grey Cup. I'm sure you understand. You dig? Jeremy writes in, says, regarding the Super Bowl, oh, my God, I'm not sure the world's ready for the Dallas Cowboys to be in the Super Bowl. He says, I have no problem saying if the Cowboys had their team right now, week 1, with the players they added, they're a contender. Have you been reading my diary, Jeremy? Been spending far too much time thinking about the Dallas Cowboys and the lack of a plan and trading Micah Parsons on the eve of training camp. Does that seem like a plan for you, going out and getting Quinnen Williams? But it seems to have worked, though, hasn't it? I feel like this is going to have to carry over into the overtime segment. So Super Bowl matchup predictions, Stanley Cup final predictions, that's what we're doing on an unscheduled episode of the RP show today in terms of off-roading. We'll be back with overtime right after this here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, we're back at it for Overtime, proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And, you know, I was looking in the tickle trunk for what to wear. That will mean nothing to our U.S. viewers, but it'll mean a hell of a lot to a lot of our Canadian viewers. I was looking in the tickle trunk for what to wear on the program today. Came up with this Winnipeg Jets hoodie. Jamie Thomas of the Jets unable to join us. Matt Hyman writing in from Winnipeg says, I appreciate the hoodie. Hey, I tried. But I do have the Overtime Hockey Lanes tracksuit that was given to me by Randy from Overtime Hockey Lanes when we were out there doing a remote show this summer. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow. It's in Los Angeles Kings purple haze colors. Ooh, yeah. I just looking at their logo right now on the screen made me think of it. Stop in and check out Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. And we've kind of had that today, right? Skill and fun, I would think. You are all making me chuckle with your comments here today. Thank you for that. As our guest was unable to join us, so I had 20 minutes to fill with basically nothing. And here we are, almost to the end of it. Jason writing in, he says, once again, a crazy idea by Jerry Jones goes oddly in the right direction. Jason, you want to tell me who your NFL team is, by the way? I love how, and this Jeremy from Winnipeg is a Chiefs fan. They all have this bizarre fascination with the Dallas Cowboys that I don't get. I think if you were in the Cowboys nation, you wouldn't find it as entertaining as you do. Okay? I guess that was what I was leading up to before the break when I said we're not going to have enough time to get into this. I've been with championship teams, played on some, broadcasted for others, and in every case, the ones that won, there was a plan. You kind of need to have a plan. And I look at the Dallas Cowboys and say, there's no plan. There's no evidence of a plan. You don't go into the season trading arguably your best player, definitely your best defensive player, Micah Parsons, leader in the locker room, and all of a sudden, they've won 3 in a row. So the other day I was speaking at this sports banquet. It's a thing that we do here in Canada. And my longtime friend, I won a championship with this guy, Johnny Ort, his nickname's Ski. He says, how about our Cowboys? I'm like, how about them? So, we've won 3 in a row. And I'm like, yeah, do you legitimately think that they're going to be in the Super Bowl? He said, no. No, me either. You've been watching this show every day all season. And what have I said? The Cowboys are good enough to win every game they played. Look at their last 2 wins, the Eagles and the Chiefs. 2 teams picked by many to be in the Super Bowl this year. They were in the Super Bowl last year. The Cowboys just beat their ass. Cowboys could be in the Super Bowl every year. But because of the dysfunction that comes from the top, we haven't even been in a conference championship in 29 years, let alone the Super Bowl. You got me going on the Cowboys. It's not to say I'm not a fan. I wear their gear. What I'm saying is I try not to let what they do on the field work me up. And as you see today, I'm not doing a very good job of that. Jason, whom I asked who his NFL team is, he says, sadly, I'm a Raiders fan, Rod. Well, that's another conversation. That's the kind of conversation that you pay $400 an hour for, at the very least $250. Not with me. Somebody that's got far more papers on the wall for being a Raiders fan. Regarding those Major League Baseball Hall of Famers and should they get in, Tony, watching in Alberta, writes in, he says, Tony Perez, because we need more expos in the Hall of Fame. That is a fact. Oh, by the way, we're running out of time here. We don't have a lot of time, but I should have written more notes down for the show, but one of the ones that I did was, would you hire Lane Kiffin? Which all these things are coming to me here right now as we're winding it up for the day. But from the Associated Press, they write, LSU placed a price tag of $91 million on their new coach, Lane Kiffin. Now, the College Football Selection Committee, the playoff selection committee, gets to place a value of its own on Lane Kiffin when it decides where to rank his old school, Mississippi, in the latest top 25. We talked about this earlier this hour, but I'm going to talk about it again. The committee can consider the availability of coaches and players when it sets the rankings. How it handles Kiffin's departure over the weekend is among the biggest mysteries heading into the reveal of tonight's final set of rankings before the bracket is locked in on Sunday. The Rebels were ranked number 7 in last week's top 25 and easily beat arch rival Mississippi State, a result that would presumably push them up a notch due to number 3 Texas A&M's loss, but they will play in the playoff without Lane Kiffin, who announced his departure a day after the win. Actually, it was 2 days after, but last week with news about Kiffin's pending decision swirling across college football, Committee Chair Hunter Yurachek did not offer many hints when asked about the possibility of a coach's departure impacting a team's ranking. Yurachek said, we'll take care of that when it happens. Oh, yeah. And the rankings come out tonight. I guess by the time it airs in Nevada, you'll already know. But they're not the same Ole Miss team without Lane Kiffin. For those that say that, it's a slam dunk they're going to be in the 12 team, let's quote Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. Steven writes in out of the blue. Hey, Rod, what's your take on the Anaheim Ducks? Real quick, my take is that the Ducks are for real. The Ducks have arrived. But right now, they're in a swoon like a lot of other teams. They're in a very brief slump that's not going to last. Paul in Humboldt says, Cowboys and train wrecks. I can't look. Right? Said every television network everywhere. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It has been fun. You can't say it hasn't been entertaining. We'll do it all again tomorrow here on the Game Plus Television Network. Jeremy says, always here to make people smile. You are, Jeremy, and me too. Game Plus and Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. See you tomorrow.
That